So this next video is just going to be a bit of a chat about tropical low 02U. There is a fair bit of agreement in general terms that this system has high potential. There's a fair bit of agreement where the system will likely form, and its general track is pretty much, I won't say 50-50, but it will float around to the north of Darwin. It'll move a little bit east and then it'll come west, then move back to the southwest towards the North Kimberley. So that's the general track, and that's while it's say 50-50, so it'll move east then west, rather than saying it's going to either go, to Cairns or to the Pilbara. It'll move east first and then it will shift back to the west underneath some ridging. So there is good agreement in that. As the disagreement is obviously intensity, and that's always a thing that models will struggle with. I wouldn't rule out tropical cyclone purely because we're in this major cycle that we've been talking about for a long time, from the 19th to the 24th. It is the major cycle in November, and having this tropical low forming and remaining offshore and forming with some structure prior to the actual high energy period itself would give me a high confidence that there is a high intensity potential there. So this is Meteorologics. This is an ensemble for the ECMWF. It shows anything up to a Cat 3, Cat 4, believe it or not, for this time of year. It doesn't usually throw these sorts of numbers out. Compared to the GFS, it'll put a Cat 5 out when there's no chance. So just put that in consideration if you're in the Northern Territory. More so this Joseph Bonaparte Gulf, Darwin Daly coast, Darwin Daly, Darwin region, down through the Tiwi Islands and those sorts of regions, down towards the North Kimberley coast there of Western Australia. So those coastal regions should really be watching this system. If we look at the ensembles from the GFS and a couple of other models, they generally have the same sort of outcome too. So if we click on this, system will go to the northeast, recurve, and then head back down towards Joseph Bonaparte Gulf. There's pretty good model agreement on that. There's a few outliers bringing it out towards the Arafura back in towards the Gulf, and then they all sort of cluster around the central point though. So good agreement on that. And if we have a look at the GEPS, it shows a pretty similar track too. So it keeps it further south, so it brings it back in through the Darwin Daly and the northern Arnhem coast, sort of in through the interior of the Northern Territory. So it's slightly further east, but generally the same sort of outcome. But because it keeps it close to the land, you'll see the pressure differences are a lot higher, which shows this is just a tropical low compared to this system we've got into the 990s. So we're looking more at a tropical cyclone here. So that's the only difference. If the system stays offshore, tropical cyclone, onshore, tropical low. Tropical low would be great. It'll bring rain right across in the Gulf of Carpentaria, anywhere from the North Kimberley to the Gulf Coast, Queensland border. So that would be a great outcome for those broader areas for the onset of rain. Whereas the tropical cyclone's more problematic, obviously, for the Darwin region, populated centre, and down into the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf there. So this would be the worst case scenario, and that's sort of what the EC sort of suggesting too, that something sort of recurves around the Darwin region, moving back to the southwest. If you look at the BOM, they've just got a bit of a generic outlook at the moment with their warning. So you can follow this track map. It just shows the system's moving out to the northeast as well before it recurves from around the 22nd. And you see the chance of moving to a cyclone's moderate to high as well. So they're showing high probability. By Sunday, it's moving back over the Northern Territory, Darwin Daly region. So there is good agreement there. You can check these out on the website. I'll put it in today's notes, but it's just showing there's high chance of further development towards mid to late week, which moves into that high energy period. So that's about all we've got to say on that. The system is there. You can see it on the satellite imagery, and you can see it in the latest model runs. This is for this morning, or tonight, 10 p.m. tonight. It's got the low almost due west of Darwin, and those broad rainfall areas are pretty much concentrated from the Roper MacArthur to the Darwin Daly and Arnhem. So this will be the focus of the rainfall outlook initially before we see these storms move back down through the interior. So we'll have a look at the rainfall models next, and we'll go from there.